Hello. Greetings from Paris, France. You know, this is the place where the school sends old, worn-out deans out to pasture. And let me tell you, it takes getting used to. I mean, all the walking, the incessant walking. My feet are killing me. We live on this chichi rue Saint-Honoré, first arrondissement. And the street is filled with one fancy shop after another. The store windows are to die for. Judy is permitted only to look. I mean, every time she enters, I have to take out a new mortgage. Our apartment window opens across the street to the best boulanger in town. And if it were not for all the walking, I would blow up like a croissant and explode. Thank God, the bancomat is conveniently located just next door. And then the museums. I don't want to complain, but the regulars are bad enough. Take, for example, the Louvre. I can hardly get past the Pyramid and the newly done Orangerie. The Monets will kill me. And now the new architecture museum in the Palais Chaillot. It's called the Cité de l'Architecture. It's filled with 2 kilometers, not one, of models, some full size. Much too much. My feet. Then there are the parks. Sailing in Luxembourg, smelling roses in Bercy, the Follies in La Valette, and the ultra-modern Parc Citoyen, much better than the car. And finally, the 1 kilometer long, but only 34 feet wide Promenade Plantée. As far as I can see, just more walking. There's just no way to slow down. Our studio in Dominique Perrault's office is filled with 18 young and adventuresome students. 3, in fact, coming back for a second year. I don't understand why they keep returning. All the rain, all the walking. This week alone, the French students are joining us for a workshop, an intense workshop, which we in America call charrette. But the French have stopped using this word, and they think it's a small cart full of ice cream. And now, back to you people and the Edward M. Crough Center for Architecture, or they're going to shut this projector off. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years. I still remember it being called an old gym, and old as it was, but not as old as my dear friend Joe Miller. It seemed only yesterday we were celebrating our first fundraiser in the temporary exhibit area that's called the Joe Miller Exhibition Hall. You remember, many of you were there. Joe seemed most impressed. He grabbed my arm and said, with all the sincerity he could muster, "This has been the greatest evening at CUA since January 23rd, 1900. And then he tilted back his head, the whites of his eyes floated upwards, and he began to count backwards. And after a long pause, he said, 1931, the year Lowcraft won their own prize today. And I should point out that John Yannick, the man who doggedly shepherded this project from studio conception to final realization, documents this period very well in his detailed article. Read it. Anyway, it seems only yesterday when I was escorting the Fortune 500 CUA Jesuit President Byron up the stairs of our first stage mezzanine to gaze out over the warren of storage rooms that filled the old gym. I was trying to convince him that rather than spending $800,000 tearing it down, we should turn it into a school of architecture and planning. Much to my surprise, he agreed and said, go for it. I also remember at this point the host of Italian-American alumni, Giuliani, Parini, Mariani, and Leo Daly. I knew that name like Leo, he must not be Irish. All of these people came forth to support our vision for a new school. In fact, there were so many Italian Americans, I learned Italian. Supporters like Andy Deem and George Calamira said, so many arms were twisted during those days. We used to cross the street to the other side when we saw Stanley, alias Stefano, coming down the road. Not forgetting the contributions of the Irish, and even one wonderful member of my own tribe, Benjamin Rom, who endowed our foreign student studies program. Yes, you all rose to the occasion. And so after the exceptional generosity of Edward M. Crough, who rebuilt the old gym, and Vastamil Kubek, who provided the construction documents, after 75 long years of waiting, may Dr. Thomas Walton be our witness. The new building, the Edward M. Crough Center for Architectural Studies, led to our new status as an independent School of Architecture and Planning. And today, with your constant support, we continue to grow in size, faculty, and programs. With students now in Spain, Italy, and France, new graduate programs in urban design, culture, and sacred space, real estate development, digital media, as well as digital-assisted construction, we continue to prosper. It's at times unbelievable to look back and remember those days when we were squeezed into the third floor of Pengbourne Hall, just another button on an elevator. We planned our moves carefully then, but it also took a great leap in imagination and courage. You were there to help us at that critical moment, and today we honor and celebrate your support. I and all of the faculty and students who have graduated since those days thank you from the bottom of our hearts. But now I must go. As you hear this note of thanks, I'll be on my way with 18 students to see Gaudi's work in Spain and the great Islamic architecture of the Alhambra. My feet in anticipation are already tingling, but you know, let's face it, someone has to do it. It might as well be me. Well, the sun is out. Paris isn't so bad after all. It's not a bad pasture. See all of you back in DC, where I can finally put my feet up for rest. Au revoir, mes amis, et bon courage.